the ambiguity of the term space, right?
Yeah.
And so on the one hand, we use space as in time and space. It's matter. It's here, and we've 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 made space a tangible thing. This is my space. Welcome into my space. Yeah. Oh, you're two in my space. You're two in my face. On the other hand, though, we say in the new age now, people will say, "Oh, I was just holding space for them." And in that moment, we're saying something very different. It's like holding space. What do you mean? Were you like, what was going on there? It's like, we know what you mean, but we're using it in a very different way, right? We're saying, I was bringing deep presence to that moment, right? I was holding space for them. I was bringing deep presence, and it's very different to a map. Where in space are my glasses right now? Are they by the phone? No, so we've got these two different things. And again, our culture has materialized space at a bottom level, right? From a scientific perspective. And I think that part of the wasteland is the schism that has been made that gives us this bifocal lens that splits the world in half, that creates, an up and a down to everything, a right and a wrong, a body and a spirit, like a left and a right, a good and an evil, an us and a them. It's a victim and a perpetrator. Everything, we've got these goggles on, and everything fits into one of those, desirable or undesirable, good and bad, and that lens, which has split space off and put it in this particular way, is partly what creates the wasteland, is that we exist in an external space as something outside of me, space as in the place, the literal space of where my glasses are when I can't find them. However, the experience that you're speaking about, the experience of the whirling dervish, it's not like you must do it in Persia. That's the space you go and whirl. Which was the town that Rumi did the spinning, and where was it? Like, I must go there. No,
let's ring those bells.
You must not. That's right. Or how many rotations did he do per minute, and exactly where was his hand in the thing? And then he turn his head. It's like, also wrong. Like, you can see how that could be either a beautiful spiritual practice, or it could be a dogmatic cult, where they're just like, and on that day he had the sandals on that had red paint on the left strap, so we must always wear the red. And if one does not, then one should have one's beard shaven and chased naked through the town and shamed with goose feathers, and let it be known for all time. Like, there's something there's an autistic literalism to the way in which our dogma and our dogmatic mind wants to grab a hold of things, right? And so that's what we do with traditions. We biblify. It says in the Bible, it says the thing. And so the space that we're talking about, we say, then we do that because space is different to spirit. There's space that we can explore in a rocket ship, and there's spirit, which is something that hovers above that. You can't take a rocket ship to spirit, because this rocket ship can only take you through space, right? So we've got this weird ambiguity and sense around the world, and where and what it is, because we've thingified the world, and we've made the things that are really, really real are the material things, right? And we've got this juxtaposition of everything.
I guess something that comes up real quickly for me, Jimmy, around this, and I kind of was curious about your feelings into it, was within that space. I mean, isn't there a contagiousness of the kind of the blending of the kind of inner sense of space in the physical environment as well? So if you're around certain kind of vibes, I'd say, or a certain atmosphere, isn't that a contagious element? And I think on this space of gently kind of allowing the toast to grill, and before you've gotten the chance to put some rosemary and butter on it, as it's kind of getting to that point, isn't there like a difficulty level, or like a intensity of the heat that needs to be kind of at least kind of made into a certain, um, brought into being in a certain way to allow that to kind of come into being in a way that will actually taste nice. So there's a sense of like the contagiousness of the environment,
Yes,
and then being
absolutely.
able to be this kind of step into it, ideally from this kind of, I like perfect way you'd step into it and then be this kind of, um, participant or contributor of this beautiful sense of change. But before you can, I guess, this is the thing that gets to me. It's like I know you can kind of do that right away, but there's almost like a spiraling process or some kind of a journey that needs to be gone on, and where does that fit into the picture? Because it's quite ambiguous already, and then once you consider that there is like an effect from your inner space to the inner space of, all sentient beings around you, and vice versa, how does that kind of play into the picture, and where does that sit with you, I guess?
Okay. Okay. So again, lots of different things. I'm just going to pick up one of them because I can't respond to all of them. So I was going to start with the contagiousness of the space, and then can you continue on with that bit? I'm going to respond specifically to the contagiousness of the space. So, so yes, at times space can be a wasteland and a traffic jam, or a terrible shopping mall, or whatever the thing the wasteland is to you. You know, is a traffic jam. Not many people dig traffic jams. Or the space can be a temple. When the space is a temple, it's contagious in a way that means that we are no longer in literal space. We are in sacred space. And by sacred space, it means we are in a state of being and we are in a process. And what the space is not just things that a rocket ship can take us to, or things that we can donk against our heads. The space is the music. The space is the feeling. The space is the suchness, then, the rent, the gash, the wound between the world and spirit is healed. And the space is the totality. The cosmos in that moment is all that is the case. It's not just the stars and the planets and the matter and the spoons and the pen. It is all that is the case. And all that is the case is the harp strings of our heart that are playing that divine music, that is resonating with the stars, that is causing us to turn on the spotlight rooming in that moment and participate with every atom in our being that is swirling around like a whirling dervish, and every planet that is swirling around like the whirling dervish. And we too then just participate in that. And the space that we're in is not not Euclidean space. It's a much larger notion of space at that point. And that space then is not a destination on a map, right? Not a literal destination on a map. It is a process or an experience. And so that's the trick, right? It's like, how do I get there? If it's like, oh, how do I get to the shops? Easy. Go down there and turn left. Got it. Easy. How do I get to where Rumi was? Don't just say, well, you put one hand here, you put the other hand there, and you put red on your sandals, and then you turn. That it's not that easy, is it? it's not that easy. We can't do it in that way. We need different language that evokes for us. And we do need a contagious space. We do need set and setting. We do need the environment. We do need a community that resounds and carries us towards whirling, rather than a community that constantly just takes us into a hellish realm of, abuse and emptiness and, like whatever it is, right? So all those things are really, really important, and they're all emphasized, the Buddha, the Sangha, and the Dharma. The Sangha is the community, right? The community is crucial. The space is crucial. The environment is crucial. But when we're talking about that, we have to deliteralize it. We have to deliteralize this space there. And in order to do that, then we come down into these basic ideas that we have ingested, the lens that you and I see the world through. We'd like to say that we don't, but we actually do. We see the world through a dualistic lens. And we've got these glasses on, and some part of our process is trying to take the glasses off. It's like, how do we take the glasses off so everything doesn't look like it's separated in this way? because I feel like there's a me and there's a you and there's a me in the world and there's a right and a wrong and an up and a down and a good and a bad. And I don't want that experience and I do want that. It really looks like that, if I'm honest. That's my experience. And if you're honest, that's your experience as well. And what we're talking about is there's moments when it doesn't look like that, when I peek behind, not just it doesn't look like that, but it doesn't feel like that. And those moments feel real in a different way. They feel fulfilling in a different way. There's a suchness and an undeniability to them. They say, I went there. Like, I know I've been to a casino and I know I went to that space. And in that space, those goggles came off for a moment and I peered over the edge and I beheld, I partook in, I whirled in a universe that was not at war with itself, in a universe that was not divided, in a community, in a relationship, in a moment in time that was timeless, that had no past and no future.